And Rutuja and me are going on mute, Sakshi. So if you need anything, please put on chat.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
I'm starting at 6:55.
A very warm welcome to all of you. Hello, good evening to everyone. I welcome all of you to today's Saturday evening and a very warm welcome to today's live masterclass with Rosh Akucheck and Wealthy on blood glucose monitoring. I'm super excited to host you people today. Before I begin, I would quickly like to introduce myself. My name is Sakshi Mishra, and I am a nutritionist by profession. And I'm also a diabetes educator. So we deal with a lot of patients who've had diabetes, etc., in the past, and that is what my expertise lies in, and that is why we are here to talk about a very, very important topic in diabetes management, which is blood glucose monitoring and maintaining records. So I am super excited. Once again, a very warm welcome. And before we move ahead, I would like to genuinely congratulate each one of you to take the first step towards your health. The reason you've come here for the masterclass shows that you are health conscious, you want to learn, and you want to manage your diabetes. So that's great, and I'm really happy to see so many people, in the webinar all ready to understand and learn in the live masterclass. So congratulations once again, and a very, very warm welcome. So are you all excited? Let us make this webinar as interactive as possible. I know your videos are off because there are many participants, so we cannot keep the videos on. But let us talk on the chat as much as we can. Can I get a yes from all of you on the chat box? If you all are excited, you all can hear me, you all can see me, you all can see my screen. Ready, everyone? Can I get a yes from you on the chat box? Okay, I'm getting a lot of yeses. All right, all right. So I've got a couple of yeses. I'm assuming that everyone is listening and hearing me. So great. Let us begin today's live masterclass with a very, very important question that I want you people to ponder upon and answer. Okay. So have you faced any of the following symptoms in the past? Now, because I know that most of you have had diabetes in the past or have diabetes right now, or maybe a little pre-diabetic and you're at verge of getting diabetes, right? So there is a high chance that you must have faced any of the symptoms in the past. So I would want to know that if any of you have faced any of the following symptoms in the past. So there is a poll in front of you. If you see, there are four options: shaking and excessive sweating, nervousness, excessive thirst, and blurry vision. There are four options. I would want to know that how many of you have faced which of these, symptoms in the past. And you can also choose more than one. So if you face two symptoms, you can also choose two of them. So please click on the symptom and select submit so that we get your answers and we can show you the answers. Please click on the poll. We'll wait for a couple of seconds. You can click on the poll, select submit so that we receive your answers. Shaking and excessive sweating, nervousness, excessive thirst, and blurry vision. Fantastic. We have the answers in front of us. A lot of people, about 53% of people, say that they are facing shaking and excessive sweating, or they must have faced this in the past. About 47% say that they have faced blurry vision. Okay. 35% say excessive thirst and 24% say nervousness. I think that's like a very fair response because most of us, especially with people with diabetes, do face one of these symptoms. And I understand that all of you must have faced one or the other. And this is very, very common. The reason being that when people have diabetes, there's a high chance that their blood sugars fluctuate. And when their blood sugars fluctuate, especially on the lower side, they may face one of these symptoms, right? And that is the reason because these symptoms are so common and so many of you have already faced it. Being this the reason, it becomes very, very important to stay glucovigilant during such times, especially during times like COVID. We know that during COVID, all people with diabetes are more exposed to being, to be susceptible to such infections. You're more exposed, and your immunity is usually a little compromised as compared to people who do not have diabetes. So, because this, we are fighting against such a condition since almost a year now. We are going to complete a year. All of us are fighting against COVID. It becomes very, very important for people with diabetes to stay glucovigilant and monitor their blood sugars to make sure that they are not into any kind of trouble in the future, right? So to make sure that for all of you it becomes like a cakewalk, we have actually broken down the entire diabetes management care plan into small pillars. So we've broken down it into basic things that is required for you to manage diabetes, and we are going to tell you about those pillars in a brief. So are you all excited to know about the pillars? Can I get a yes on the chat box? Do you all want to know about the pillars of diabetes management? Can you all just type a yes on the chat box if you all want to know about the pillars of the diabetes management? Okay, yes, yes, yes. Great. I'm getting a lot of yeses. So without any further delay, let me show you what are the pillars of diabetes management. These are the basic 6 pillars of diabetes management. The very first one being education. We've noticed over time while dealing with patients that diabetes education becomes very, very important in management of diabetes. Only when you know what is happening in your body will you be focused and you will be vigilant to work towards it, right? So educating yourself about diabetes and everything related to diabetes is very, very important. That is the reason education is the very first pillar. The second pillar that's very, very important is healthy eating. What are you eating? When are you eating? Is that the right thing you should eat at that particular time or not? Is it affecting your blood sugars or not? There are many, many questions when it comes to eating and diabetes, right? So it's very important pillar of diabetes management, healthy eating. Third very important pillar is being active. You should be active in terms of physical activity, any terms of physical activity, what suits your health goal the best. You should do that kind of a physical activity in some proportion at least. Okay, so being active is very, very important. The fourth and the very, very important pillar that we are talking about today is blood glucose monitoring. So we are going to talk about this in detail, and blood glucose monitoring and also maintaining records becomes very, very important. Of course, which is followed by taking medications on time and reducing any kind of risk associated with diabetes or its complications in future, right? So it becomes very, very important to make sure that you understand about all these pillars. Today, we are going to focus in detail on pillar number 4, that is blood glucose monitoring and how to maintain records, right? So let us start and educate ourselves on blood glucose in detail. So why do you think that blood glucose monitoring is important? Why do you think it is important? I think the very, very common answer I get from all my patients is that first of all, it keeps a check on the blood sugar levels, right? So unless you check your blood sugar levels, you will never know that what you are doing is working with you or not. So it will always remain a guesswork, right? If I tell you that follow so and so diet, follow so and so exercise, if you follow that and don't check your blood sugars on a regular basis, neither will you know that your blood sugars are getting improved or are they not getting improved. The only way to check that is checking your blood glucose on a regular basis. Also, it helps to understand whether your medications are working properly or not. Very important. It helps to understand whether your diet, your exercise is perfect for you or not. Do you need any kind of change in your overall lifestyle? It also lowers your risk for any kind of future complications. So diabetes being a progressive disease has a chance of a lot of future complications. So if you check your blood glucose on a regular basis, it will not put you into any kind of complication in the future, right? So with this we understand that it is important. So if it is so important, how to do it? How to check your blood glucose? There are two ways in which you can check your blood glucose, two very simple ways. The first way is the test that is performed at the labs. So whatever test we do at a laboratory is the first way. And the second and a very important way is the test that we perform at our homes. Okay, so the one that we do at the lab is of various types. We do a fasting glucose, we do a post meal glucose, etc. And the one that we do at home is called as SMBG. What does SMBG mean? It means self monitoring of blood glucose. Checking a blood glucose for yourself, recording it, and then monitoring it. Self monitoring of blood glucose. Both of these ways are extremely important to manage your blood glucose on a regular basis. So, are they different from each other? Definitely, they are different from each other. How are they different? The method in which the blood sugar is checked is different, right? So, I get a question from a lot of my patients. They ask me that is it like same if I do it at home, or like I use the glucometer to check the blood sugar at home, or if I go to the lab and check it, is it the same? So absolutely, both the results are accurate. They don't have any problem. Like even this result is right, even that result is right. What is the difference? The difference is the way in which you take the blood. So when you go to the lab, the blood is usually taken from our veins, right? It is drawn from our arm. It is usually taken from our arm, from the vein. But when you check it from your home, you usually prick your finger and it is taken from your capillary. The capillary blood is taken, and usually when you go to the lab, your vein blood is taken. And because of this, because the method is different, there's a slight difference in the readings that you get. About plus or minus 20% up and down is what is assumed when you do a check at your home and at the lab. So, for example, if you check your blood sugars at home and you get a reading of say 100 mg per dl, okay? So, if you go and check your blood sugar immediately at the lab, you might see a little up and down, maybe between 80 and a 120. 20 up and 20 down, your reading will be somewhere between this. But both these results are accurate, and it is clinically proven that both of this is accurate. So it is absolutely okay whether you choose to go to a lab or whether you choose to do it at home. It is absolutely your choice. So what happens when you perform any kind of test at the lab? There are various tests that can be performed at lab. We have mentioned 5 of them here. Two of them, basically the first and the fifth one, if you see, random blood glucose test is a test that is done when you go to the lab and the doctor just randomly checks your blood sugar, right? Either you go to the doctor and the doctor checks it, or maybe you go to the lab and the lab assistant checks it. You don't have to fast before it, you don't have to eat anything before it. You just randomly go any time of the day and check the sugar. That's a random blood sugar. Okay, this test is usually done to diagnose diabetes. So if you are a non-diabetic and if your doctor has a doubt that you might have diabetes, he or she will do this kind of a test on you. There's another test called the oral glucose tolerance test, which is usually done with pregnant ladies. Okay, so wherein a glucose liquid is given to the lady, and after 2 hours of that liquid, your test is done to make sure that whether your blood glucose is up and down, so to they can diagnose your diabetes. Both of these tests is done to diagnose diabetes. Okay. Now coming to the three different tests that we have. That is HbA1c test, fasting blood glucose test, and PP, like we say, postprandial blood glucose test. All of these tests is done for monitoring your blood glucose. So now that you have diabetes, the first two tests are not of your use. These three tests are of your use. HbA1c test is usually a test done to get an average of the past 3 months. It is usually a percentage that you get, and it gives you an average of how has your blood sugar been over the past 3 months. It's a very good test to make sure and understand whether your blood glucose is controlled or not, whether you're monitoring it well or not. So you get an average of 3 months. So you get to know whether in the previous 3 months your blood glucose was well or was it not well. Okay, HbA1c test can be done at any time in the day. You don't need to fast for doing a HbA1c test. Then coming to fasting blood glucose test. Usually this is done in the morning as soon as you get up after an overnight fast. At least 8 to 10 hours of fasting is required when you do this test. You should not eat or drink anything before doing this test. Yeah, you can sip water. That is absolutely fine. But don't eat or drink anything before doing this test. Then comes the PP test. That's the postprandial blood glucose test. As the name suggests, postprandial, that is after your meal. Post means after, prandial means meal. After your meal, this test is done. As soon as you eat anything, right from the moment you put the first bite of food in your mouth, from there you should calculate 2 hours and do a PP test. This is the postprandial test. This gives you a reading that after food, how is your body reacting, right? So these are the three tests: HbA1c, fasting, and PP. These are the three tests that you should do on a regular basis to monitor your blood glucose. And the other two are for diagnosis of blood glucose. All of these tests are done at a lab. Okay. Now coming to something that can be performed at home, like I told you, SMBG, self-monitoring of blood glucose. How do you do it? I'm sure all of you already have your AccuCheck active machines with you, right? And you people follow it on a regular basis, and you people are already checking it. I'm sure you do that. But here is a small guide for you. So if you're confused how to check your blood sugar, what is the correct way to check your blood sugar, this is the most correct way. So what do you do? The very first step is you should remove the test strip from the container, okay, and close the cap tightly. And you should make the machine ready, okay. Once the machine is ready, the step two is to take the lancet from the kit, okay, and then prick your finger on the side of the fingertip. So you should, hold your finger and prick on the side of the fingertip. Once you have done that, a drop of blood should be taken on that strip, and it should be put in the green area on your on the machine. Right? There's a green area on your machine. You can put that drop of blood there, and the strip can go inside. Within 5 seconds, you will get the reading on the machine. Right? Once you get the reading, you should dispose of the lancet and you should dispose of the strip. Okay, this is the very, very easy way to check your blood sugars at home, which I'm sure all of you are already doing. This is just for people who are a little confused as to how to go about. If you are starting to do it, maybe it will be a little tricky in the beginning for once or twice, but once you get a hang of it, you'll actually start, managing your diabetes very easily. Because whenever you want to check your blood glucose, you don't have to go anywhere. Right at the comfort of your couch at home, you can actually remove your machine, prick, take a drop of blood, and check your blood glucose. It's a very easy thing, and everyone with diabetes should do it. It is called SMBG, self-monitoring of blood glucose. Something to take care when you do SMBG. First of all, your hands should be dry. Don't do it on wet hands. It should be absolutely dry. Secondly, make sure that you don't press your fingertip. A lot of my patients do this mistake. They use the lancet and then they press it for the blood to come out. If you do that, usually instead of the blood, the interstitial fluid comes out. And the reading you get is absolutely wrong. So never press your finger to get the blood out. Okay? You can actually, put it with the gravity, in the flow of the gravity. Just put your finger like this and let the blood come out on its own. Just one drop of blood, and that's more than enough. Do not press it. Also, make sure you never prick in the middle of the finger. Always do it on the side of the fingertip, either on the left or on the right, whichever fingertip you want. It can be any fingertip, but either on the left or on the right. Don't do it in the middle of the fingertip. Okay? You should always dispose of the lancet, of course, and do not share any kind of blood sugar equipments with anybody else in your home. So if say 2 of you at home have diabetes, do not use the same lancet. Do not use the same strip. Absolutely not. Okay? And always make sure that you store your test strips in a good container so that there's no moisture, etc., that disturbs the readings, etc. Okay? So these are a couple of things that you should keep in mind when you check your blood glucose at home. Now coming on to the next poll of today, that is, which of these values indicate that the blood glucose is in control after a meal? Okay, 2 hours after a meal. What do you think out of this? Which of the values is the right answer? So I want all of you to look at your screen. You will see a poll in your screen. There are 4 options: less than 200, less than 250, less than 70, and less than 300. What do you think is the right option? Quickly select on the option and show me the readings. You can also click on submit once you select the option so that we get the readings that you have written. The first, second, third, or fourth. So there's 180, 250, 70, and 300. What do you think is the right answer? 2 hours after your meal, please be vigilant of the question. 2 hours after your meal, how much should be your blood sugars? Just click on the answer and click on submit. We'll wait for a couple of more seconds. Everyone quickly answer. All right, we've got your answers. Wonderful. I can see great results. So 92% of people say that it should be less than 180 and about 8% of people say it should be less than 70 mg per dl. Absolutely. The right answer is in front of you. It should absolutely be less than 180 mg per dl. So when you check your blood sugars 2 hours after your meal, the PP sugar that we were just discussing, it should be less than 180 mg per dl. If it is less than 180 mg per dl, which means you are in the safe range and your blood sugars are controlled. If it is anything more than this, then it is a concern and you should visit your doctor, right? With this, I am going to show you a very interesting slide and something that is of utter importance to everybody here, okay? You can actually take a screenshot of this slide. This slide gives you a couple of values, etc., that you should focus on when you're managing your diabetes. Okay. So for people who have normal, like who are not diabetic, they are non-diabetic and they are healthy people. For them, usually the blood glucose readings, the random glucose is usually within 200. Their HbA1c value, the 3-month blood sugar average, is usually less than 5.7%. Their fasting values is less than 100 and their post-meal values is between 70 and 140. And the OGTT, like I told you, is usually less than 140. This is for normal people without diabetes. Now, if you have pre-diabetes or maybe you are at the verge of getting diabetes, your values will be somewhere in this range. Your HbA1c will be around 5.7 to 6.4. Your fasting glucose will be around 100 to 125 and your postprandial will be between 140 to 199. Your OGTT will also be in the same range. Okay, so this is when you are on the verge of getting into diabetes. If you are anything more than this, so for example, your A1C is 6.5 or higher, or your fasting blood glucose is more than 125, that is 126 or higher, or your post-meal blood glucose is 200 or higher, then you are diagnosed as a diabetic patient. Only when you have these readings, you are diagnosed as a diabetic patient. Okay. Now that you already have diabetes, what should your target values be? Should you target to go like very, very low, or should you target to manage your blood glucose? So now if you are diabetic, your first target should be to maintain your blood glucose levels in a good range. And to do that, you should make sure that your HbA1c is always less than 7%. It should not be more than 7%. If your HbA1c is anywhere less than 7%, so say between 6.5 and 7, which means that you are in the good monitored range. Okay. If your fasting glucose is between 80 and 130, you are in the safe range as a target value for people for diabetes. Okay. The target value for people for diabetes post-meal is anything less than 180. This is what you answered just a couple of seconds back. So it should be less than 180. So now that you have diabetes, I think the last row is of utter importance to you. Your HbA1c should be less than 7%. Your fasting glucose anything between 80 and 130, and your post-meal anything less than 180. Okay, I would again request all of you to screenshot the slide, share it with people who have diabetes, because this is authentic information. And I understand with so much of social media and digital media these days, we really don't know what is the right value and what is not. Every now and then we keep getting new values. But this is absolutely authentic as per ADA, that's American Diabetes Association. So you can actually share it with friends, family members who have diabetes and use it for yourself. Did this help you people? Everyone, can I get a yes from all of you on the chat box? Did you all know about these values? Did this help you? Can I get a yes from all of you on the chat box? Okay, I'm getting a couple of yeses. What about the others? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, great. So I think this slide was of importance to you people, and I'm glad that it is of importance to you. Please make sure that you take care of these values. The more you are able to stay in this range, the more you will be away from any kind of complication that a progressive condition like diabetes can take you to, right? So try to be in your target value as much as possible. Now that we know that what is the right value, let us see what is the best time to check your blood glucose. So these couple of times given to you are the best time to check your blood glucose. The first one is as soon as you wake up in the morning, your fasting glucose. That's a very good time. Secondly is just before a meal. You can also check your blood glucose just before a meal, or you can check it 2 hours after a meal, or you can check it at bedtime. You can check it before and after a rigorous exercise. Okay. Or if you're not well, if you're not feeling well, or because of anything, if you're not feeling well, or maybe you're just tired, etc., that is also a good time to check your blood glucose. So these are times when you should check your blood glucose. However, this is usually for people who are taking only oral medications. For people who are also taking insulin, it is best to talk to your doctor as to when does he want you to check your blood glucose. Blood glucose monitoring depends upon how well is your blood glucose. So, for example, if your blood glucose is absolutely under control and your doctor has full confidence on you, your health coach has full confidence on you, she will probably tell you to check your blood sugars once a week, maybe, or once in 10 days, right? And if your blood glucose is not under control, if you show high readings, low readings very often, she might tell you to check it more often, maybe 2 times in a day, maybe 2 times in a week, maybe 3 times, 4 times in a week, depending upon what is your requirement. Especially for people with insulin, please consult your doctor as to when does he want you to check your blood glucose. Otherwise, for people for oral medications, these are the most recommended time to check your blood glucose. So instead of doing like a random blood sugar reading, please do something of this sort. This will give you more insight as to whether your blood sugar is under control or not. Okay. So again, talking about how does it help with people with insulin or without insulin. So with insulin, like I told you, frequency of blood sugar checking depends upon how much under control your blood sugar is. And for people with insulin, they usually, it depends upon what your doctor wants. So if it is like a rapid dose that you're taking, maybe he will want you to check it at least 3-4 times in a day. If you are taking like a long acting, he will want you to check it at least once a day. So it depends upon what kind of insulin you're taking. So it's best to talk to your doctor as to when to do your blood sugar testing. Okay. And for people with non-insulin medications, the timing that I gave you just before was your takeaway. Please take that away from your and start checking your blood sugars according in one of those times. What should you do if your blood sugar is very high or low? So now we know that we should check our blood sugar, what is the normal reading, and when to check it. Okay. Now, if you notice that you checked your blood sugar and you notice that your blood sugar is super high, or you notice that your blood sugar is super low, what should you do? I have a quick tip for you. Okay. So, for example, you check your blood sugar and your blood sugar is say 200 or say 230 or say anything 300. Okay. This means that your blood sugar is out of control. For a temporary time, what you can do is you can quickly take a glass of water, drink a large glass of water, and do some kind of an exercise like a brisk walking or something. That will at least give a temporary relief to your blood sugar. Your blood sugar will go down a little bit. Okay. So if it gets too high, you can use this tip. However, if you notice that your blood sugar is going too high couple of times in a week and you don't know the reason, please talk to your doctor immediately. It is important to understand whether your medication is working for you or not. It is important to understand. You can also report it to your health coach so that she can identify whether there's a problem in your diet, whether there's a problem in your exercise, and she can guide you accordingly. So if your blood sugar is constantly high, don't just measure and stay with it, right? Record it on the app, the Wealthy Care app that all of you have, and talk to the health coach about it so that you get a understanding as to with this kind of a reading, what should I do? Otherwise, one general tip for all of you is drink a huge glass of water and do some kind of a brisk walking. It will temporarily put your blood sugars to a lower range. Okay, this is when it gets too high. What to do if it goes low? Okay, so for example, in the beginning I asked you that have you ever faced one of those symptoms, right? excessive thirst, or maybe excessive hunger, or maybe you're sweating a lot, or you just feel fatigued, tired, dizzy, etc. So if you feel anything of that sort, you should immediately check your blood sugars. If you check your blood sugar and the reading is low, if it's lower than 70 mg per dl, it is usually called as hypoglycemia, which means that your blood sugar is lower than normal. Okay, it is very important to first of all identify if your blood sugar is lower than normal. So if you face any of the symptoms that I just mentioned, please check your blood sugar immediately. If your blood sugar is lower than 70 mg per dl, it is called hypoglycemia, यानी कि blood sugar की मात्रा बहुत कम हो जाए. Okay, what do you do in that case? You should immediately follow the 15-15 rule. What is the 15-15 rule? If you notice that your blood sugar is less, immediately eat 15 grams of carbohydrate. That 15 grams of carbohydrate can be in any form. It can be 1 full tablespoon of sugar. It can be powdered sugar like Glucon-D, or maybe it can be like a candy or something. Immediately take that in your mouth so that your blood sugars goes back to normal, immediately. I have a lot of patients who usually, whenever their blood sugar is low, they drink milk, or maybe they'll just eat food, or maybe they'll just eat a fruit. That's not great, because if you do that, it will take time to raise your blood sugars. If your blood sugar is below 70, that's not a good sign. It's a sign of danger, because your blood sugars, if they are low, it can have an impact on your brain, it can have an impact on your body. So it is important to bring back your blood sugars immediately back to normal. What is the best way to do that? Eat 15 grams of sugar, or sugar powder, or a sugar candy. Okay? Wait for 15 minutes and check your blood glucose again. Within 15 minutes, it should come back to normal. If it does not come back to normal, again eat 15 grams of sugar and check again after 15 minutes. That is the reason it is called a 15-15 rule. Eat 15 grams of sugar, wait for 15 minutes and check. Okay, so this is how you follow the 15-15 rule if you fall into a hypoglycemic event wherein your blood glucose goes below 70. So this is a tip for you. If it goes high, what to do? If it goes low, what to do? Never eat a fruit or drink milk, or eat something like your roti sabzi or dal rice, etc., when your blood sugars go so low. That is not the right thing to raise your blood sugars quickly. Just for all of your information, blood sugar going low is even more dangerous as compared to blood sugar going high. So it's best to keep it in range. Let it not fluctuate. Let it not go high. Let it not go low. And your health coach will help you with it as to how to do that. Okay? You should always take care in such circumstances, especially when you are exercising. If you are a avid drinker, so if you are like you drink alcohol very often and you have diabetes, please check all your blood sugar. If you've eaten a very big meal, say if you've gone to party, function, event, etc., check your blood sugars. If you cannot sleep well, check your blood sugars. If you're feeling stressed, check your blood sugars. If you are in extreme temperatures, very hot, very cold, check your blood sugars. Also, when you are not well, or maybe you are at high altitudes, these are all the times when you should take special care of your blood sugars. Okay, so this far I would want to know that have you people got like a value as to how to check your blood sugar, what to do if it's high, what to do if it's low? Are you people enjoying the session? Can I get a yes from all of you on the chat box? Okay, yes, 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 I'm getting a couple of yeses. Great. So I am assuming that the session is going great. Wow, I've got a lot of yeses. Perfect. So the session is going great, and I would quickly like to take you ahead. What to do when you check your blood sugar? So see, when we check our blood sugars, it is important to identify a pattern your blood sugar is showing. So whenever you check your blood sugar, it is always good to record your blood sugar. As and when you record, over time, you will be able to understand that this is the pattern my blood sugar follows. And the blood sugar pattern can be related to anything. It can be related to what time of the day you check it, what medicine you're taking, what insulin you're taking, what food did you have, what activity did you do, what is the stress level, is there any particular event which led to a low blood sugar? Anything can impact your blood sugar, right? So it is important to look out for pattern. So what you should do, you should pick up a time. Maybe today 9 o'clock you check your blood sugars. So maybe every 3 days or every 4 days, check your sugar at 9 o'clock only, so that you get a pattern to understand that okay, 9 o'clock every morning, this is what my blood sugar pattern looks like. So it's very important to watch out for pattern. Just checking sugars like that doesn't help. And your health coach helps you to watch out these patterns. Looking at these patterns, she gives you recommendations about your diet, exercise, etc. Okay, so regular blood sugar testing is very important to check your blood glucose. Coming to another poll, what should you record to correlate your blood glucose readings? So, if you want to correlate your blood glucose readings, what of these things should you record on the app? So, should you record meals and medicines? Should you record activities? Should you record, episodes of stress or anxiety, or all of the above? What do you think? Your blood glucose is correlated to what? You have four options in front of you. Please pick up one option and click on submit. What do you think is the most appropriate way to correlate your blood glucose? By recording what? We'll wait for a couple of seconds. You could just pick up one answer and click on submit. Make sure you click on submit also after clicking your answer. Fantastic. We've got the results. All of the above is the right answer. Fantastic. 87% people have given the right answer. All of the above is the right answer. 13% say meals and medicines. Let me tell you, the right answer here is all of the above. You should record all of this to make sure that your blood glucose is under control, because your blood glucose can be correlated with each and everything that is mentioned here. It is not just meals and medicines, it is also your activity, and it is also your stress and anxiety. All of the above is the right answer. Very good, everyone. So if you have to, write down everything, and if you have to monitor everything, what is the best way to do that? Best way to do that, if you have a smartphone, and these days all the blood sugar meters give you apps, etc., to record your readings on the cell phone, so that you can record everything, and then you can correlate what led to what, right? So that's the reason it is very, very important to keep a smartphone with the app with you, so that you can record anything of this sort. So what is the advantage of having AccuCheck active with you, people? I'm sure all of you already know this because you're using it. First of all, you can talk to your diabetes coach. You get easy tips on your fingertips, easily available to work on your health, health parameters. You can also get a lot of knowledge and skills to manage your diabetes in a much, much better manner. More than anything, it helps you to achieve your health goal. That is the reason Wellbe and AccuCheck Active have come together to make sure that you get benefit of all of this along with checking your blood sugars. How does a diabetes management app like Wellbe Care help you? It helps you to make sure that your health goals are personalized. Okay? Small nudges, etc., are sent to you, small tips are given to you to make sure that your blood glucose are under control. You can actually maintain a record of whatever you're doing throughout the entire month, etc., in the app to make sure that your blood glucose are under control. More than anything, in an app like Wealthy Care, everything, all the guidance that you get is rooted in science, and it is evidence based. Nothing is just we talking, it is science talking to you. All of it is evidence based, and that is the reason it is very, very important to get authentic information from a diabetes management app like Wealthy Care. Okay, with this, I am about to show you a quick video that is going to give you a brief about what Wealthy Care app has to offer you, and what exactly should you take value from the Wealthy Care app. What exactly is it going to offer you? I'm quickly going to show you a video. Great. So before I move ahead, did you all enjoy the video? Did you get to know something about Wealthy Care? I'm sure all of you are using these features already, right? Can I get a yes from you people on the app? Are you all using these features? Are you enjoying these features on the app? Can I get a Y from all of you? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay. I'm getting a lot of yeses. Great. Please keep using the features. I'm quickly going to take you through the basic benefits of each and every feature and what is the most correct way to use that feature. I'm quickly going to take you through it. The very first feature of Wealthy Care is something known as profile and targets. So all of you have a profile section on the app, right? While I talk, you can actually open up your Wealthy Care app and look into it so that you know what I'm talking about. Okay? So you can actually see there's a profile section on the app. I'm sure a health coach must have told you about it, wherein you can put all your health details, etc., so that we can personalize the entire program for you. There's a targets page which gives you targets that are customized for you, and it gives a structured pattern to your entire health journey. So this is the very first feature, that is profile and targets. The second very important feature is daily goals, which you get on the app, which is again customized according to your requirements. So, what is the amount of calories you should consume? What is the amount of water you should consume? What is the amount of calories you should burn? All of these goals are available on the app, which is absolutely customized according to your health goal. So, this daily goals helps you to make sure to use it in a way that you can actually achieve your health goal by the end of the program. So your daily goals are like a short-term goal for that particular day, which you should absolutely use to make sure that you are on track on a day-to-day basis. Okay. The third very important feature are lessons that you get on the app. There's a journey section on the app that has a lot of audio lessons, video lessons, quiz, etc. that helps you with a lot of tips and tricks to manage diabetes. All of the audio lessons, video lessons are clinically validated lessons by professionals. And the entire experience on the app is made gamified to make sure that you actually enjoy it when you are going through the app. So, actually going through the audio lessons, video lessons will give you a lot of knowledge and skills to manage your diabetes in the most correct manner. Another very important feature is logging. Logging in the app is very important. There's a logging, there's a diary section which has a logging option. You can go there, you can log everything right from your meals, activity, weight, water, blood sugar, blood pressure, reports. Everything can be logged on the app. As soon as you log anything on the app, you get an instant feedback from our digital health coach, Carrie. She's an artificial intelligence who is available 24/7 on the app. So you get an instant feedback from her on the app, and logging actually helps you. How does it help you? Because all of that gets stored in your diary section. There's a diary section, and everything gets stored in your diary section. It's your personalized digital diary. So, say 2 months down the line, 3 months, 6 months down the line, if you want to go back and see how far have you come, you can actually open your diary and look at the logs, etc. you've done. It will be easy for you to identify a pattern, and it will be easy to see what progress have you done. Also, you can take this to your doctors to show them that, okay, this is how my logs were in the previous month. This is how my blood sugar was in the previous month. Should I make a change in my medication? Right? The diary section helps you with that. Another very important feature and a very interesting one is reminders. You can set up reminders on the app. You can set up medication reminders. You can set up any reminder like an activity reminder, a water reminder, so that you don't miss out on anything that is related to your wellness journey. And last but not the least, we have magazine section on the app that is very interactive. It gives you a lot of tips and tricks to manage your condition on a day-to-day basis. So it's very you have all health related articles there pertaining to your condition, which you can read, identify what is important for you, favorite it and keep it for you to read it on later. So all of this is available on the app, which I'm sure all of you are already using. Here on the screen is an experience of more than 45,000 patients, which we are sharing with you in a very short way because we cannot share so many testimonials with you people. These are all the testimonials that our patients have shared with us. They are so happy with the app. They're so happy with the entire program, and they've seen such good results that they, actually are happy, and they share these. These are actually raw testimonials, just the way we get it from our patients. So we cannot show you everything because there are too many, but we've tried to show you a couple of things that is possible. So we are, hoping that even you people shared such testimonials with us in future. Okay, and we are very glad and proud to share this with you. Also, the app helps you to take care of different situations. So for example, if you get into a hypo, or maybe you want to get into some kind of a function, party, celebration, or maybe you have a fast, or maybe you travel quite often, what should you do in that condition? The app helps you with that also, because every day is not a normal day, right? There might be conditions wherein you cannot follow your normal diet routine, you cannot follow what your health coach has told you. So what to do? Again, the app will help you in such situations. Also, the app is not just your health coach, app has your complete care team. So along with a human health coach, you also get a digital health coach. Also, you get a caregiver. So you can actually add a caregiver on your program. That can be your friend, your spouse, your relative, mother, father, anybody. You can add on the app who help you manage diabetes. Okay. Also, your doctors can be a part of the app. So it is actually an entire care team that is available at your fingertips to help you manage your condition as and when you require it. You people are already a part of the 21 days free trial, and I know all of you must be already using it, and your health coach must be helping you with your goal setting, customized recipe, good behaviors, how to add a caregiver, etc. But let me tell you, this 21 days is just a trailer to a beautiful film out there. So 21 days is for you. Completely explore the app in these 21 days. Try and utilize it as much as you can, so that you can identify what exactly is your health goal. What should you actually look up to after the 21 days are over? Or even within the 21 days, if you can do it within the 21 days, even that is fine. Once you identify what your health goal is, actually the movie starts after that. This is just the trailer. So, basis your health goal, there are various plans that are available for you, right from a wealthy basic plan to a wealthy pro plan to a wealthy plus plan. Okay, this is a 1 month plan which is about 399 per month. The 4 month plan is about 300 rupees per month, and the 12-month plan is about 125 rupees per month. Now, all of this depends upon your health goal. So, for example, if you have a very short term goal, so for example, you just want to lose weight, or maybe you're just looking for fitness, you can go for a 1 month plan. If you have a slightly bigger goal, maybe you want to control your blood sugars, or maybe you want a healthier lifestyle, you can go for a 4 month plan. If you have a long term goal, maybe you want a change in the way you live, maybe you want a change in your well being, maybe you want a change of a lifetime, you can go for a 12-month plan, right? The only difference in the plan is the duration of the plan. And of course, the more you stay on the program, the more number of interactions you can do with the health coach. The more you are able to interact with the health coach, the more guidance she will be able to give you, the more you will be able to explore the app, so that you get all the relevant information for you managing diabetes, right? So everything remains the same other than the duration and, of course, the interactions with your health coach. So you can actually choose a plan as per your personalized health goal. And last but not the least, we are very proud to share with you that our patients have shown real world studies. We have shown a great HbA1c reduction in about 60% of patients. We've also seen great, weight loss over time, and we've seen some great groundbreaking results once the patient complete the program. We've shown you a couple of testimonials. We have a lot more to go. And of course, we are endorsed by big associations like American Diabetes Association, so that we give you relevant and clinically approved information only, right? So this is what we had to share with you. So make self-monitoring of blood glucose a part of your healthy living. Now that we've just entered New Year, make this like a resolution for you, so that you can take care of yourself, and you can actually use SMBG, etc. at your home to make sure you're healthy and fit, and you manage your blood glucose well. With this, I am done with my part. Now I would like to open up. If we have any questions, anything from the audience, we can take that up.
Thanks, Sakshi. It was a very informative session. Thank
Yeah.
you for that. The patients have really enjoyed each informative part. There are three major questions which are seen. The
Okay.
first is they want to know why the blood sugar levels are fluctuating every week.
Okay. All right. A very interesting question. And trust me, a lot of my patients ask this to me very often. That सब कुछ तो ठीक था, क्यों blood sugar fluctuate हुआ? But let me tell you, it may be that you are thinking कि सब कुछ ठीक था, but usually there is something that is going wrong because of which the blood sugar is fluctuating. If everything was normal, it would not have fluctuated. So right from your, your eating habits, your diet, right from that to your exercise, to your stress levels, to your sleeping patterns, anything of this, your medications, your insulin, if you are on insulin, anything of this, if fluctuates, it leads to a fluctuation in your blood sugar. So something as normal as maybe you don't feel like cooking today and you bought something from out. Outside food is obviously rich in oil. It is obviously not very nutritious. So maybe just having that outside food might have led to a blood sugar fluctuation. So blood sugar fluctuation is not the problem. Identifying the blood sugar fluctuation and then rectifying it is important. So if your blood sugar is fluctuating, great, it is okay, no problem. And it happens with everyone. It's absolutely okay. Identify that the blood sugar is fluctuating. Talk to your health coach about it. She will tell you, she will make you identify why is it fluctuating, and then you will be able to probably identify and change that particular habit. I hope that answers the question, Ritusha.
Yes, yes, helpful, Sakshi. The next part was they wanted to know what is the ideal frequency of checking blood sugar levels per week.
Okay. So if you ask me, ideally, if you have like a good blood sugar control and you are able to manage your blood sugars on a regular basis, checking your blood sugars 2 times in a week is more than enough. In the start of the week and in the end of the week is more than enough. Whenever you check your blood sugar, make sure that you take at least 2 readings, one fasting and one post meal, so that we know, and both on the same day. Okay, so that we know that how is your body reacting before food and how is your body reacting after food. Instead of just doing a random, it is better to do a fasting and a post meal. And 2 times in a week is more than enough if your blood sugars are good and well controlled. If your blood sugars are not under control, please check with your health coach and your doctor to see that what is the correct frequency for you to check your blood sugar.
That's helpful, Sakshi. The
Yeah.
last, I know we are almost done with the time, but there is one important question which many patients have asked in this panel. They want to know what are the ideal time gaps for fasting blood sugar, post meal blood sugar, and random blood sugar, and why is it important to monitor all three of them?
Okay, great. That's a very, very helpful question. Good that you've asked this. So basically, I'll give you like a quick guide. It's like again a takeaway for you. This is like a mantra I tell to all my patients. Okay. So for fasting, whenever you want to check a fasting blood glucose, it is ideally best to check it after an overnight fast, so that you don't have to stay hungry for a long period of time. Because you sleep, you're already fasting. So it's good that you check it after an overnight fast. At least a time gap of 8 to 10 hours is compulsory. So 8 to 10 hours of gap between your dinner and your fasting blood glucose checking is important. Okay. Coming to post meal blood glucose. Post meal blood glucose can be done after any meal. It can be done after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, or after snacks, whatever. After any major meal, you can check your post meal blood glucose. How do you check it? You check it 2 hours from the time you start eating your meal. So from the time you put the first bite of food in your mouth, from there you calculate 2 hours. A lot of my patients do this mistake. They start calculating the sugars, the time to check the sugars after they complete the meal. That is not the right way. So, for example, if you start eating your meal at 1 o'clock and you are eating your meal till 1:30, but you should calculate from 1 o'clock and check your sugars at 3 o'clock. That is the correct way to check your post-meal or PP sugars. Okay. Now coming to random sugars. Random, as the name suggests, you can do it at any time of the day. Whenever you want to do it, you can do it. And there is no time gap, nothing. The reason it is important to check all of this, out of these three, two that are even more important is fasting sugars and post-meal sugars. These two are very important. When it comes to random, you can check it once in a while. So for example, if you're ill, like I told you, if you're feeling any of the symptoms of hypoglycemia, so don't wait for fasting, don't wait for 2 hours to get over. That time you can randomly check your blood sugar, right? For example, if you have gone out to a party, you've eaten a big meal, you want to come home and check how is your random sugar. You can check a random sugar that time. So random sugar is an instant sugar check that you require to do. Otherwise, if you're doing it just to monitor whether to know your sugars are in range or not, one fasting and one post meal reading is more than enough. And I hope the time gaps are clear now. Does that help, Rutuja?
Yes, Sakshi. I think you have answered almost all the questions, and I hope they have enjoyed this session. And I'm sure they will connect with their health coach and go through the app again. Thank you so much for such a lovely session.
Thank you so much. It was great hosting you people. Thank you for being such a lovely audience. Thank you for being so interactive. If you have any doubts, anything that you want to know about, please reach out to your health coach. They are the best people to guide you about your diabetes management. All right. Thank you so much. And we shall meet very soon in the next live masterclass. All right. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care. Have a nice weekend.